Hi, this is H. Kimball and I'm the Mad Stamper. I've been obsessed with making postcards with the new postcard stamp from Stampin' Up. But I've run into some problems with inking the stamp. I thought maybe you'd like to see what I've learned. What happens is that when I ink the stamp, I end up with a bunch of ink in the parts that are supposed to be blank. Now this is with a felt pad, and as you can imagine, the foam pads are even worse because they're so much gooier. When I got tired of cleaning up stamps, I thought it was time to figure something out. I think that, Stampin' Up has cut the center out of stamps that have a lot of empty space in them. For example, this Daydream Medallion stamp has a hole cut out so that you don't run into that problem with it. And I think it might have been helpful if they'd cut holes in the blank areas of this stamp. The next thing I decided to try is inking the stamp with a marker, because I could control better where the ink lands and where it doesn't. I have a couple of places where I need to clean up the ink, but for the most part, that came out pretty clean. The problem is it takes forever. If I'm going to do 10 postcards, which I'd like to do, that's going to take a long time. And sometimes you don't get as dark an image with markers as you do with an ink pad. So using the early espresso marker worked well. It gave a dark enough image and there aren't any smudges. The only drawback is the time it takes to ink a stamp this large with a marker. But you may decide that that's the best strategy for you. I decided to take a chance, get brave, and get my box cutter out, and I'm going to cut the holes in the stamps that I think it needs. Well, it isn't pretty, but let's see how it works. I'm going to be sure to place the ink pad so that it hits the raised areas of the rubber and just tap until it's got enough ink on it. Of course, it won't take this much pressure or tapping if you're using foam pads. Now that came out really nice. So I like my experiment. I think I can live with this and be happy making several postcards at one time. Just to be sure though, I'm going to use a foam pad and see how it does. With the foam pad, I just have to remember to use a much lighter touch and try to get it on there really flat. And the trick with this stamp seems to be to make sure the pad covers from the top to the bottom and from one side to the middle ridge. So you can see I've even got some of the ink from the foam pad on the rubber there. But I'm going to stamp and see whether that transfers to my paper or not. And it doesn't. So this is the solution that's working for me. I don't know if you're brave enough to carve up your stamps like that. If you are, go for it. See how it works. Otherwise, use markers. Those are my two recommendations. I hope you enjoy making postcards either way. For more inspiration and instruction, be sure to visit me on my website at www.stampingmadly.com, the Stamping Madly Facebook page, and the Mad Stamper YouTube channel. Happy stamping!